gonna bite a kneecap off. We're gonna bite a kneecap off.
Oh, we got the law and order back? In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated professionals that investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. These are their stories.
It doesn't matter what your story is.
Man, you didn't give me the glunk at the end of that? The Rock comes in. Well, I'll tell you what I think. It doesn't matter what you think.
Happy birthday, Jerry.
Hey, Russ, did you hear? Aiden Hutchinson broke his leg. Did you hear about that? Hutchinson breaking his leg. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did.
Did you? Yeah, it's probably the number one trending thing on social media right now.
Yo, the lies told that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lies to sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose move on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me, it's never this way. We indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.
It's your opportunity to join me, Main Event Mike. This is the Main Event Football Show on the Villain Squad Network, brought to you by NFLShop.com. The Villain Squad Network is an official marketing partner of NFLShop.com. I got this fresh black jersey from there, and I'm sporting it today on the Main Event Football Show. You can scan that QR code right there on your screen and save 30% and do the same and be one of the cool kids if you want. What's up, everybody? Have you heard? Maybe you haven't heard. Aiden Hutchinson broke his leg. Yeah. He also broke the internet. I just got 2 texts in the last hour that said, hey, did you hear Hutch broke his leg? Like, yes, where have you been, under a rock? It's such a big story that it overshadows washing away 10 years of pain against the Dallas Cowboys. It overshadows washing away the pain of a heartbreaking Detroit Tigers loss in the divisional series. It's such a big deal that we smashed a really good playoff team from last year, 47-9, and we all feel like we just left a funeral. Is that what Hutch would want? I don't think so. This morning on the Villain Report with Russell Wayne, we talked about it, and we were going off initial reports, and we were told that Aiden Hutchinson broke his tibia. It was released later by the Detroit Lions that he, in fact, broke the fibula and tibia. So it was a clean break of both bones in your shin. And I don't think there's any surprise to anyone that saw the replay and watched the way that it was so gruesome. I mean, I was shocked that both bones weren't broken when Dan Campbell said, yeah, it's the tibia. Thanks, Dan. No, it's both legs or both bones, and that does change things, folks. It was reported that Aiden Hutchinson got a metal rod put in his leg. Look, this season's over, folks. This morning I was a little tough on some fans who were saying that it was over. I was giving them shit because you're not a doctor. What do you know? It's too early to say that. Maybe it was too early to say that, but those people were right. It looks like his season is probably over. There is a sliver of a chance that if we were to make the Super Bowl, he could play. But folks, I wouldn't hold my breath on that. I'm not expecting Aiden Hutchinson to come back until 2025, but I do expect Aiden Hutchinson to come back in 2025. This is the Detroit Lions main event football show, broadcasting live into Facebook at Lions Villain Squad. Also broadcasting live into Detroit Lions News Podcast. Big thanks to Joe Chapp. Also broadcasting live in YouTube at two different destinations, at JC Sports and at Villain Squad on YouTube, the little channel that could. Please like, subscribe, follow, and click the heart button. I see we got 40 here on my platform, and only 5 people have hit an emoji. Hit an emoji, a like, a heart, something. Prayers up for Hutch. How about that? Will you hit a heart for that? Because I certainly feel it in my heart. You do not. I'm going to make a meme today. It's that guy from Lord of the Rings where he goes, one does not simply replace Aiden Hutchinson. Right? Stop all this talk about replacing Hutch. You don't. Dan Campbell said that today in his press conference, that you don't replace a guy like that. What he means to the team in the locker room as a leader, the example that he sets on the field, you're not going to replace him. I don't care if you bring Max Crosby in. It's not going to be the same. So stop talking about replacing Hutch. You won't. But you could get someone else to play defensive end at a high level. And there are some sketchy candidates out there, and there are some pipe dreams out there. And I think Max Crosby is a pipe dream. They've already scoffed it in the offseason of taking a number 1 overall selection and trade for him. So the price would be way too high for Brad Holmes at this point. But we're not going to just talk about the Hutch injury. We're also going to talk about the Lions game today. We're going to break down some parts of that game. We're also going to bring in our producer. We're going to take a couple of left turns here and talk about a few other things, including the Monday night football game that follows this program, the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills tonight. We're going to talk about that as well. Let's see who we have in the comments today. The usual suspects, except it's the bad guy. Take a look at the bad guy. John Kapler.
That's my quarterback.
John put this comment in at 5 o'clock. John, I hope you're still with us. Good evening, Dwayne. Good evening, Davey, One Pride. Jeremy B in the house. What is up, Jeremy B? Great to see you as always. Joseph Osteen, I know what the funny comment is because I was, hey, did you hear that Hutch broke his leg? Yeah, it's kind of funny that anyone would ask you that. Certainly not making fun of the injury, Joseph. Just it would be funny that anyway. I've got 2 texts in the last hour from people, and I'm not knocking them, but they just don't know that I'm a football guy, so they know me from other things. So anyway, moving on. We've got in here Ken Fisher. How are you doing, Mike? And, of course, Russell in the background. That's right. Russell's back there pulling the strings, folks. Lions in beast mode. John Kapler, prayers for Hutch. Love it. Sick argument in the chat today. It's a medical fibular fracture. Tibial fibular fracture. Still ideal location if you get a bad leg break. What a great take. Sick. Thank you so much. A nice clean break of both bones is what he's saying there. An ideal location if you get a bad leg break. Not like in college when he broke it on the other leg at the ankle. Okay? Not the same leg, and he healed up relatively fast. Look, there's a lot of things that go into it, folks. When he's going to come back, the severity, the nerves, the tendons, the damage. We don't know any of that yet. But even on the backside, broken bones heal, and they usually heal harder than they were before. So next year when he does come back, he's going to be a beast again. And that week, I think we can all breathe a sigh of relief, because there were some initial reports talking about he might walk with a hobble. People that it's like, and these are reputable news sources. This isn't knuckleheads on the internet saying this, that we don't know what it's going to be. He could walk with a hobble. Why would you even throw that out there? No, he's going to play in 2025. Take it to the bank. Main Event Mike said it right here. All right, what else we got? Jeremy B says it's a 6 to 9 month recovery time. There you go. Elise Memes in the house, the queen of memes. Be sure to check out her page. She makes some really good memes for us. She made that meme with Vin Diesel, which is going crazy. There it is. You can scan that code. It'll take you right to her page. You can check out her awesome artwork. And she put up the Vin Diesel post. I think the players weren't even out of the locker room yet. You got that, Russ, you could put up? No. Oh, there it is. It's in our featured right there on the Villain Squad page. Driving to Dallas to donate my leg to Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah. Yeah. That's how we all felt. You like that? Prayers for 97. This will bind the team like Mike Utley did. Good call, Jeremy B. Like Zach Zinter did for the national champion Michigan Wolverines last year. Sometimes these things can galvanize a team. I love that call out. Yeah, they need to stop the news, Dwayne. Get Crosby too much. It's too much. I like this call too. We don't necessarily need a defensive end. We could get the same thing out of a cheaper high-end Sam linebacker who's solid in pass pro. We might have that in Trevor Nowaski now, sick. Did you see that? He got a sack. Kid was looking good. And that's what the Lions are going to have to do. They're going to have to manufacture a pass rush. You don't have the high motor, the constant 98% of the defensive snaps. You don't have Aiden Hutchinson there now. So you're going to have to get creative. And I think we saw the Lions doing that anyway in the game yesterday before Hutch went down. I saw them bringing pressure from all over. Aleem McNeil had 2 sacks from the defensive tackle position. They mixed it up. They ran some stunts, which I hadn't seen Aaron Glenn do all year. So they were already on. They're already toying with it. Definitely you can't replace Hutch, but I think we're going to be good. We're thick up and down the line. Ukwu and Agude. Look, when you play basketball with good ball players, you play better. You ever notice that? You golf with good golfers, you golf better. It's like that when you play cards. You play cards better. Whatever it is, you bring yourself up to the competition. And Lions have guys that are wired that way. I'm not as worried as some of the people that I have talked to today who think that the sky is falling, that our Super Bowl window is closed over this Hutch injury. No, it's going to be harder now. Yeah, it's going to be harder. But do we have the roster? Yes, I think we do. Do we have the coaching? I think we do. We certainly have the fan support. So do we have enough on defense? Well, if Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch continue to play the way they are, we could have 2 Pro Bowl safeties. That's pretty good, right? Carlton Davis, guy played really good yesterday before he had to leave with a concussion. Terrion Arnold, no pass interference penalties yesterday. Way to go, TA. Kid's always right there when the ball comes. He had a fumble recovery. Ha ha. Good evening, Detroit Darcy in the house. Mark in the house. What's up? And our good friend Chad Datema in from the Sasquatch season is over. He's back on now. Steve, our resident Packer fan, you're a class act, my friend. I am wishing Hutchinson a great recovery. Thank you, Steve. I bet Packer fans are no, we weren't laughing at Jordan Love. I can tell you that. We weren't laughing and ridiculing you. Yeah, we were ridiculing Malik Willis. And he shoved that right in our face. But nobody is ridiculing Jordan Love these days. And when his injury happened, and same with J.J. McCarthy, no respectable Lions fan is happy about an injury to a player, even if it's a rival team. Chad says, I see Houston being back. Chad, that's such an interesting point. I feel in my heart, I hope you're right. But there are so many fans naysaying and telling me that James Houston is washed. I'm starting to believe it myself. I mean, right? He's only got, 9.5 sacks in 11 games? Yeah, let's give up on that guy.
We're going to buy the
Oh, did you
kneecap
see him in
off.
preseason? Yeah. He played in 2 games and had 2 sacks. He played against Seattle. He had a bad game. We saw that in the preseason. He played the one preseason game, looked terrible. They yanked him right out. This guy's might be a one-trick pony, but that trick is a good one. It's pass rushing. And if he returns to form the way we saw him in year 1, that could be the answer we're looking for on obvious passing downs. Josh Pascal, I thought he had his best game as a Lion yesterday. He didn't show up in the box score a lot, only 2 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. But he was in Dak's face. He was setting the edge on run plays. He was forcing the runner back inside to our road graders. Great. He might be up to the challenge. This might be the time. He was a 2nd-round draft pick, folks. And it is such a shame that Aiden Hutchinson isn't going to be there. When you look down the line and see Aiden and Aleem and Levi Onwuzurike and Josh Pascal, that's just how Brad Holmes drew it up, buddy. That's just how he drafted him to be right there across that line. We're going to get to see it yet, but that's okay. Sick
gonna
Argument
buy the
says it's
kneecap
correct.
off.
When you break the dominant leg, it's a quicker recovery. I think he's right-handed. He is right-handed. That would make left the dominant leg, right? Isn't that right? They call it dominant leg because that's where you shift your weight to. I might have that backwards. I don't know. He's sick. You'll have to clear me up on that. Scotty Reno in the comments. I broke my fib and tib. I have 10 screws, 2 rods, and a plate. I was walking without a cast in 3 months, just saying. Yeah, Scotty Reno. Playing bass is a dangerous profession as well. Ken Fisher got a great take here. You should go into the comments and read it. It's too long for me. I'm sure it's very good, though. Joseph says Vin Diesel's little leg attached to Hutch might not help. Darcy says some mook named Mike Valenti says our Super Bowl chances are finished. Thoughts? I think he's a Giants fan, Darcy. I think he hates the Lions. He hates Detroit. He hates our fans. He hates living here. That's what I think. I might be wrong. Maybe he says that isn't the case all the time. And I understand he needs to be unbiased. You can be unbiased. But he says things, and maybe that's his job, right? To say things to get me fired up. To get me fired up and say, I like Pat Caputo better. Yeah. Jordan, Eho in the house. Glad the team was able to refocus after Hutch went down. Pretty much sapped the excitement out of the end for me. 100%. All of us, even in the Lions Den, which is the most incredible environment to watch a game, it was pretty somber there at the end. A lot of comments, a lot of good folks in here today. Broski Bear, how you doing, sir? But I don't do all this alone. I do this with my good friend and my partner. He's the man behind the glass, and his name's Russell Wayne. Please welcome him to the program right now.
Wait, we get you over here.
Pow! There he is.
Boom. Love it. I like being up in the studio room here where I got more of my toys.
You like that?
I do. Thanks, Kirk.
Love it. So a couple of things we were talking about during the monologue, Russ, I want to get your thoughts on. I already know how you feel about getting players from outside the organization to come in, that you're kind of aligned with Brad Holmes on building from the draft, building from within. We don't need these guys coming in. But does your perspective change at all now that Hutch is not going to be here for the year?
I mean, not really. And this isn't really my perspective. That's what I want to throw on top of that. This is the Brad Holmes way. What I'm just saying is I look for patterns in how my general manager is going about his business. And they believe in the guys that are here. And Coach Campbell said that much at the press conference today. Now, I'm not saying that they're not going to be out there looking for some guys. I mean, honestly, the one that I like that you brought up that actually made more sense was the Myles Garrett thing. I mean, maybe you do get on the phone with the Cleveland Browns where they're kind of in a desperate situation, and maybe you got to eat some cap. Maybe you got to take on Deshaun Watson's contract to get Myles Garrett here.
Wow.
Or you got to do something like that,
Right?
To get that's what
No,
you
that's
gotta
good
do.
call.
If you want that talent, you're gonna have to pay for it. I mean, unless you can swing some things. Now, the Hendon Hooker thing is an interesting chess piece because, I know that Brad Holmes could probably look at that piece as like a first-round pick. Like, if you want 2 first-round picks, well, if I'm going to give you my quarterback, that's going to count as one of them. And they may be able to get some kind of deal going with Hendon Hooker being in that spot. And let's face it, it is what it is for Hendon Hooker. If you're waiting for him to take over the reins, this is Jared Goff's team. It is what it is, and you have a valuable piece in Hendon Hooker. I'm a believer, Mike, in this next man up mentality. I'm watching Josh Pascal make tackles for loss. He only got credit for one of them. He should have gotten credit for 2. I think it was a no loss was his no gain was his other tackle, but he was in the backfield the whole day. He was in there, and you give him more snaps. You're looking at Aleem McNeil with 2 sacks. You're looking at DJ Reader in there. You're looking at Pascal. You're looking at Levi, and it's like, it's a loss, man. You're never going to replace Aiden Hutchinson, but somebody's going to go in there and they're going to have to change up their defense a little bit, but they got other good players.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
right. No, that's one school of thought for sure, Russ. And you're right on. Sick argument. I mean, and right here in our chat, right here in the villain chat, you have a microcosm of the fan base split right down the middle. Sick argument. There's nothing urgent at all about this situation. Brad Holmes is the best GM, and Dan Campbell's the best coach in the NFL. They are building a dynasty to be here 15 years. Hutch goes down and you don't make the Super Bowl this year. That's the mindset. That's a great point, Sick. But then Broski Bear, I got to agree with this. If you feel you have a window to win it all, you need to go all in. I don't care what anyone says, and I think I agree with that take more.
I do.
Now is the time. You've got $30 million. That'll cover, 2 games for Deshaun Watson? But, I mean, you could go out and get someone. There's a Josh Uche out there. I mean, even if it's a guy that's not Max Crosby or Myles Garrett, for crying out loud, if it's just a move, it's an injection like they did with Irvin last year. He only played 1 game, drove Derek Carr into the turf and was gone. And just do something. I think they will do something.
I get to do the do something thing, Mike, and this is for all you do something guys. Just doing something to do something. For one, there isn't anybody in free agency right now that can come here and help this team in the way that you want them to. Let's get that off the table right now. It's not like Brad Holmes is sitting on his thumbs right now while there's a whole bunch of guys out there that he could go get. There has to be a willing trade partner. That's the other part of it. Man, they should go get Trey Hendrickson. Well, does Cincinnati want that? Does Cleveland want that? I mean, we don't know. I mean, really, this Max Crosby, that's nonsense to me. I mean, he went on his podcast the other day and said, I want to be a Raider for life. Yeah. Like, I mean, stop it with that. Like, yeah, of course we want the best players.
Yeah, but Russ, he doesn't have a no trade clause.
Are available, Mike. But we should just get a trade.
He doesn't have a no trade clause. And even if he does, he's already said he would like to play for the Lions, if not the Raiders. So if they came to him with a trade to make their franchise better, it absolutely could happen, especially when you consider that they're in the AFC and we're in the NFC. It's not going to affect them until Super Bowl time. So they're not trading him to, Kansas City or something. So
Dan Davis said something smart this morning that you really liked that I was digging about. This is what will probably actually happen, which is he's going to go get one of these second tier guys that's on the 5th year of his rookie deal that you might not know about, that's got the skill set that they need. And they'll bring that guy in to compete with the other guys that they have.
Mhm.
The thing is like we're underselling our practice squad and our defensive line coach with this, because those guys can come in and those guys can play. Now, you're not going to be getting the plus play like you get from Hutchinson, right? But you have the other players. We have damn good linebackers, guys. We have damn good back end secondary with those other 2 guys right there. They're definitely going to have to change the way they play defense a little bit for sure. I mean, you're not going to have that 13 pressure guy sitting playing 90% of the snaps. You're probably going to do more of a rotation on both sides and start mixing and matching and doing things like that. But who are you going to bring in? Like, I don't mind bringing in somebody, but we're not just going to bring in somebody to bring in somebody. So throw that into the comments, what you would like, what's your dream scenario, and what do you actually believe that it would cost?
Mm-hmm.
That fair? Is that a fair question, Mike?
I think that's absolutely fair.
Okay. Just want to make sure. I don't want to be too hard on everybody.
Oh, sick argument. You lost me. We cut the best guy and he's back in Canada.
Oh yeah.
Not a Matthew Betts purist. Could get him back December 1st. Look, he couldn't beat out James Houston. Why would we want him there? Why would we want him? He couldn't beat out James Houston.
No, I ain't got any blind hope in some guy to come in and step in. There is no Hutchinson replacement, by the way, guys. There is no best guy. If you can make the Max Crosby thing happen, what do you think it would cost? What do you think it would cost? What do you think they would try to get for Max Crosby? Because he's on a max contract too. He isn't just Max Crosby. He's on a max contract. Mm-hmm. And you have to pay for that max contract. Mm-hmm. And that would put us close. They just paid David Montgomery. They really believe. I mean, and this isn't my opinion. This is the opinion of our general manager. This is just the way that they're building the team. They're drafting and developing. This man's superpower is his drafting. So what we're proposing right now is you're going to take this man's superpower away from him to bring in a guy to win now, which I don't have a problem with, but just realize that that's the best thing that he does.
You're right. And that draft capital in the hands of Brad Holmes seems to have more value than it does in other GM's hands because of what he's been able to do hitting on all these Pro Bowl players and more players heading to the Pro Bowl this year from his drafting. New players like Kirby or Brian Branch, one of these guys.
So here's an interesting question. It just kind of hit me right here. But now that there isn't an Aiden Hutchinson in there, what do you think the chances are? Because they already kind of have a hybrid of this, doing like a 3-4 type of deal with Reeder, Aleem and Levi being the main middle guys, and then bringing more linebackers up since we have a plethora of linebackers and playing more of those guys and going right speed.
You want to play the scheme that suits your personnel, right? And now with all these D linemen going on, I mean, Kaminsky goes out first, then Davenport, now Hutch. It changes what your strong suit is now. But then you lose Derek Barnes as well. So, and Ifeatu Melifonwu on the next level. So you need to play to your strengths, play to what your personnel does. And I like that, Russ. That's the first time I've heard that idea floated. We've talked about how they're going to need to manufacture pass rush in a different way, but we haven't addressed what way. What way is that? And that could be a way, is to change your scheme more 4 linebacker set. Jack Campbell, let Jack Campbell play spy and read and react while you're bringing heat James Houston off the edge or one of these other guys off the edge. Yeah, I like that.
And then trying to score 35 points with your high-powered offense. And, you know, you need a defense that's going to keep them under 24. You know, like we don't need, like, we're not going to be a top 10 defense without Hutchinson right off the bat, unless somebody like completely breaks out that we're not expecting, right? Like somebody jumps out there. So what you need to do, the offense is good enough to carry the defense, I think, because I think
it was last year.
I think that the offense is good enough to score against any defense, and they proved that last year. And even against the really good defenses, and some of them did well. I give Chicago a lot of kudos. The Chicago always plays our offense really, really tough. They match up well from the physical standpoint against
right, and that's linemen. And that Chicago defense looking really good this year as well. And that's a great segue for us to move into our next segment. We're going to talk about this Lions victory. You're watching the Main Event Football Show on the Villain Squad Network. Be sure to follow our page, Lions Villain Squad, on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Villain Squad on YouTube. Brought to you by NFL Shop, NFLshop.com. The Main Event Football Show is a direct affiliate marketing partner of NFLshop.com and the Villain Squad Network. All right, 47-9. We get that monkey off our back that's wearing a cowboy hat. And we get that monkey off our back after 6 straight years of losing to the Dallas Cowboys. 47-9. The Lions absolutely spank them. On the Villain Report this morning with Russell Wayne, we went over the box score. And we told you that Jared Goff threw for 315 yards and we rushed for 184 yards. But there were a few things that we missed on the show this morning. And that is a touchdown, the running of David Montgomery. Can we just talk about the running of David Montgomery for a minute? Put it in the chat. Put it in the comments. I want to hear, did you feel like I felt every time this guy's touching the ball? This is a grown man doing man's work.
It's a man.
Well, that's what we were yelling in the Lions Den. It's a grown man. This man is relentless. I am proud,
kid, Mike.
I am proud to say I am a fan of this guy, David Montgomery. He seems to be a wholesome human being. He's a former Eagle Scout, a Christian man. And he's got more fight in him than anybody I think I've ever seen besides Isaiah Thomas in my life. He's got more grit. He embodies what this team is about. He has emerged as the greatest free agent signing the Detroit Lions have ever made. I'm saying it right here, folks. If no one's ever said it before, Main Event Mike's saying it right here. The best free agent signing the Detroit Lions have ever made in franchise history. At least in the modern era, David freaking Montgomery. Thank you, Chicago Bears. We got him on the cheap, too. And then it was revealed Saturday night that David Montgomery signed a 2-year contract extension, and he came out and played like a rhinoceros in Dallas. He's the rhino.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
David Montgomery. And then the stroke of genius to sign him, re-sign him. I'm going to kick it over to Russ because he's much better at these things than I am. About the contract, when he's ready, we're going to do that. But I want to hear from you in the comments. Did you feel like I felt when this guy was running that this guy is the real deal, and how proud you were to be a fan of the way this guy runs, dragging defenders, running guys over? Last week, he dropped Devin Witherspoon like a sack of laundry on Ford Field. Yesterday, he just shook Dallas defenders and pinged and ponged them right off of him. Guy's a beast. Guy's an absolute beast. David Montgomery, by the way, 8 straight games with a touchdown. That's a franchise record for the Detroit Lions. Not even the great Barry Sanders or the one-year wonder of Jamal Williams could beat that streak of 8 straight games with a touchdown. Kudos to you, Monty. We're going to talk about his contract as well here in a minute. We still got plenty of time.
Well, I mean, what I'll say about the contract, because they don't have it all the way updated. All the information isn't there on the contract. That says it listed the extension, but doesn't show it how I can show you in a way. But basically, a long story short, usually contracts are front loaded to like the base salary is really, really low, so they can save money against the cap, so they can sign other people. The Lions kind of did it opposite with David, because his lowest is in 2026, 2025, where he's getting it front loaded to where it's costing more up front than it is on the back end. And that's just a little bit opposite of what I'm used to seeing. But I think it's because they have the other 3 contracts that come up with Goff, Sewell, and Amon-Ra are coming up in 2026. So he's offsetting years so we can have this fluid cap going. So if you want to know why we're not running out and signing a bunch of free agents, it's because we're trying to find a way to keep as many of the guys that are already here to keep them here long term. So, and I hope that's me. I want that to happen. I hope that we don't go out and spend a bunch of big money on a person, because I think that this team is deep. That's what I've saying, 1 to 53, that this is the deepest team in the NFL. Actually extended out to 1 to 69 into the practice squad. And I think this is the deepest team. And this is an opportunity to prove that. You know, start generating pressure, start playing solid defense without Aiden Hutchinson, then you're going to be proving that point. I don't know who it's going to be, but I know that this roster is deep, and I know that Dan Campbell wants to see with this. I believe in the guys that are here. End quote. That's what Dan Campbell just said at the podium. These aren't my words. This is not my opinion. This is the opinion of the way that they want to run the team. And they believe the next man up is the right way.
Lions had 4 sacks in the game. Aiden Hutchinson had 1 of them on the play he was hurt. But there were 3 other sacks that weren't Aiden Hutchinson. There were 5 turnovers that weren't Aiden Hutchinson, by the way.
Slick turnovers. I love seeing a turnover with the punch out. We're looking like a boxer coming in and pow.
Brian Branch, what a play to punch that ball out, recovered by Terrion. Absolutely. I like this comment by Mark Gagne here, kind of. Night Train Lane would have something to say about that, about being the greatest free agent. Well, I said in the modern era, Night Train Lane didn't come to the Lions till 1960, I believe, 7 years before the first Super Bowl. He was already a Pro Bowl player for the Rams. He made 2 Pro Bowls there, came over and made 2 Pro Bowls with the Lions, if I'm not mistaken. That's pretty good resume. Yeah. But that was in 1960, Mark. I'm talking about, at least in the modern era, in my lifetime, this is definitely the best free agent signing ever. Well, but that's a good call out. I love the Night Train Lane call out, the original number 20.
Night Train Lane, but I want to hear what he's got to say to this comment back to it. It's like, I think that David Montgomery, even if you want to put Night Train Lane in there, has absolutely earned the right to be in that conversation.
Sure.
If you want to argue, if I say David Montgomery and you say Night Train Lane, I'll go, okay, that's good. And he should say, yeah, that's good. Because this is a running back that we signed to this team when we needed a running back, and he came in, and in 2 years we're in an NFC championship game, and we just signed him to an extension. So, David's he's making his argument.
Sure, but Mark's point is valid, because Night Train Lane's a Hall of Famer, and we brought him in as a free agent, and to say that David Montgomery is clear cut the best free agent signing of all time, I think that Night Train Lane's resume is probably much better than David Montgomery's at this point. So I think it's a valid point anyway, Mark. Thanks for the comment.
Yeah, not clearing away, Mike. It's not clearing away.
Sure. You. David Bennett Barnett in the comments.
100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 1
was watching Monty show the boys what playing lion-like men was. Yeah, that's right. That's a lion-like man right there. Right on. Love it. Love it. Love it. Gun guy in the house. Always with a good take. Don't take the loss for weakness. Lions are still a dominant squad. That's right. That's right. In fact, they hold CeeDee Lamb to 7 of 14 on catches. That was a stat that really jumped out to me. Guy's a stud, dude. He's number 1 in the league, probably. Him and Tyreek Hill, they're number 1. I don't think there's much argument about that. You might get an argument from Lions homers claiming Amon-Ra is, but I think even Amon-Ra is going to admit this guy one of the best in the league. 7 of 14. That's pressure on Dak that made it that way. So it's not just Hutch. This whole team showed out yesterday. And Dan Campbell said that in his presser. I can hear Scott Mitchell laughing at you, as Ken says. Somewhere Scott Mitchell's laughing. I'm the greatest free agent signing. I won 7 games in Miami. Right. Good call out. All right. Oh, there you go. There's a guy named Bubba Baker on the practice squad. Might want to try him. Yeah. Was that free? I think he played at the Colts first. That might be a good call right there. Bubba Baker as a free agent signing. Ooh, I love that. That could be a nice piece of content for the Villain Squad page, buddy. Who's the greatest free agent signing of all time by the Lions? And let's give some nominees. Right? Night Train Lane, Bubba Baker. David Montgomery, definitely in the conversation, though. Some other notable games around the NFL yesterday. We had the Chicago Bears in London. Honky stomp the Jacksonville Jaguars 35-16. Caleb Williams, 4 touchdowns. Look out. Look out for them Bears. The growing pains. They had the benefit of a nice, easy schedule at the beginning of the year. And we saw that in May. We knew that was coming. We called that out right here on this show that it's going to be good for Caleb to play these games where it's not the highest competition yet. He don't have to play the Lions right off the bat or the Green Bay Packers right off the bat. That's going to be good for him. And that's what we're seeing. 4-2. Are they 4-2? 4-2.
Good.
4-2. Minnesota Vikings get a bye. But just like last week when the Lions had a bye, every team in the division wins. Because the Green Bay Packers smashed the Cardinals as well. At Green Bay, 34-13. They were a 6-point favorite, and they smashed that cover. Russ and I both took the Cardinals. Oof.
Yeah, we're just haters.
We're just haters.
I mean, we should just take out the NFC North ones for us. I bet you if you look at our record minus the NFC North, it's probably spectacular.
It probably is, since we're both picking over 50% each week. This week, Russell Wayne picked 8 out of 13. I picked 7 out of 13. You can join us on Thursday mornings on the Villain Report at 10 a.m., where we do our prediction Thursday. You like that? And we also do our lock picks, where Main Event Mike is 4-2 this year. That's week 6 lock picks right there. That's our prediction show on Thursdays at 10 a.m. Green Bay Packers smashed the Cardinals 34-13, and it wasn't even that close. They were dominating them the whole game. Kudos, Steve. Kudos, A-Dub. Your team is solid. Detroit, Green Bay, we knew it was going to be that. We didn't know that the Minnesota Vikings would be 5-0 at their bye week. No one knew that. Not even Jeremy B knew that. Anybody tells you they predicted the Vikings would go 5-0, smack them, because that's a lie. Not true. Got a nominee for greatest free agent from the Lions, Golden Tate.
What?
I love it. Comes over from the Seahawks. That's a great nomination. I think David Montgomery's got him beat already in my book.
He definitely can't be talking about us commentating, but
I liked his commentating.
Oh, I didn't. Oh,
Gun guy, you did call the Vikings to be second in the North.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady did a good job.
It's my quarterback.
I wanted to
We like Tom Brady because he was homering all the Lions stuff. And he seemed to get a total charge every time something bad would happen to Dallas in the game. That was awesome.
because I think everybody feels like this.
Right. Other notables around the NFL yesterday, Tampa Bay puts up a 51 burger on the Saints. That bum Derek Carr was out, and Spencer Rattler, the rookie QB, who some on this very show predicted to be the starter by midseason. I know Jeremy B liked Spencer Rattler coming out of college, was his favorite quarterback coming out of the draft. He had a really good 3 quarters, and then he fell apart through some bad throws at the end when they were getting desperate. Tampa Bay 51. Look out. Pittsburgh and Justin Fields 32-13 over Pittsburgh. Justin Fields continues to win. I don't know. Russell Wilson was healthy on the sideline, suited up yesterday, and they rode Justin Fields to 32 points. That's really intriguing. We predicted on this show that Justin Fields would be the starter by midseason. Maybe that's flip-flopped now. Maybe Russell Wilson will be the starter by midseason if they start to flounder, because the Ravens in their division look like they're going to run away with it. They beat a tough Jaden Daniels and Washington team that was 4-1, and they beat them 30-23. Covered the spread by a half a point and gave Russ's lock pick a loss. Missed the spread by half point, Russ. Missed it by that much.
That's the dangers, Mike. That's the dangers. That's the world that we live in when it comes to point spreads.
Half point on the lock pick. And the team you picked actually won. They just didn't cover. That's a bummer. And that's enough for that NFL stuff. You guys got the internet, don't you? You saw the rest of the stories. You don't need me to tell you. But I do want to talk about David Montgomery's contract before we jump off. And we're going to talk about that Jets-Buffalo game here at the end. Do you have all the details on Monty's contract, Russ? Or are people going to have to wait and tune in the morning?
Yeah, right now it's still got the old – I think that it's got the old stuff on here. I'm looking at it right now.
I'm sure it'll be up by the morning if you can't get it together.
Because right now it's still got the 2026 is the void year. And this is a contract that's signed through 2027. He got a 2-year extension. So I know that this can't be up yet.
I love this call from Joseph Ostin, who says, sounded like Brady. Oh, that's not it. It was from Mark. Sorry. They'll put Carlton Davis on Justin Jefferson if he clears concussion protocol in time. And I believe he will, Mark. When you saw that, I mean, he had a guy roll up on his helmet, but it didn't look like the impact. He didn't slam the ground. And then when his helmet came off, the guy's cleat hit him in the face. I would be shocked if he's not playing next week, right? I mean, that looked like something you and I could endure, what happened there. And these guys are tough as nails athletes, so top of the food chain in the world. So
yeah, he did get kicked right in the head, though, with cleats. That's
with a cleat.
That couldn't have felt good.
Right, but he's a dog. I cannot see you're going to go up against Justin Jefferson, and I don't think that is going to stop him from being in that matchup.
Right.
I do want to talk about the game. This is a weekly show, by the way. So if you want to hear about that David Montgomery contract, Russell Wayne's going to break it down for you on the Villain Report. Be sure to tune into that 10 a.m. when Over the Cat posts all the details and we know the exact numbers and all of that. But this is a weekly show, folks. So we talk about the game that just happened, but we also got to look ahead to next week's game against the Minnesota Vikings in US Bank Stadium. The line is opening as the Lions, the favorite, by 1.5. Holy moly. Somebody needs to confirm that, because I looked at it just before we went on and I couldn't believe it. I feel like, man, I need to look at that again and confirm that. But the Lions are favored on the road against a 5-0 team. Russ, you looking that up right now?
Yeah, might as well.
Sam Darnold Schwarzenegger, he's been a regular on this show. I mean, the bye week. Yeah, I did something like that. He said,
come on.
He called me earlier and said he was on the bye week. 5-0. We need to get Darnold Schwarzenegger back on the show, Russ.
He's busy, man.
He's busy.
He's got
He's getting people to the chopper.
He's got that following. Let me look here. Vikings, Lions are getting 2 right now.
Oh, we're getting 2. So it's Minnesota -2.
Minnesota is -2.
Okay, I did look at it wrong then.
And I think it was 1 yesterday, and Aiden Hutchinson already moved it a half a point in the betting. And
right.
I think it's going to be 3, maybe even 4 by game time, because I do believe that Hutchinson's going to hurt us in the short term right now. Like, I mean, you got to scramble and you got to come up with something.
And you want to know something, Russ? This is something that I know that you know. Even in the games that we beat Minnesota, Christian Darrisaw handled Aiden Hutchinson. He handled it. I was really looking forward to that matchup. We're all getting robbed of that matchup. And Minnesota's for real. One of the top defenses in the league. Surprisingly, Brian Flores is a Jedi. When you look up and down the roster, he's got some good players, but he's got some question marks too, and he's getting the most out of them. He's disguising the blitz. He's bringing different pressure. He brings more pressure than any defensive coordinator in the league. Him and Todd Bowles. They bring pressure. So, fortunately, Jared Goff, one of the best quarterbacks in the league under pressure, and we have a legit offensive line.
Or they show pressure and don't bring anybody. They show it like they're going to bring it, and then everybody drops back into coverage. They also lead the league in that.
Last week, the Vikings won, but Darnold was not impressive. No touchdowns and a pick, less than 200 yards. They were able to run the ball when he's not at his best. You're not going to be able to run the ball on the Lions. Even without Hutch, you're not going to run the ball on us.
Right.
Aaron Jones, great back. He's a great back. One of my favorite players in the whole league that's not a Lion, Aaron Jones. Now that he doesn't play for the Packers, I can say that. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be a great game. Somebody's going to come out of there with a loss on their record that's going to make a difference in this division race. It's just the beginning, folks. It's the first divisional game for the Detroit Lions in the season. There's only been one NFC North division matchup, and that was the Vikings in Lambeau, and they beat the Packers by 1 point. It's the best division in football. All the teams have winning records. That's because they haven't had to play each other. Believe me, if they'd opened the season against each other, I don't think one team is running the table on these other teams. I think it's going to be tough this year. Lions, we predicted they'd win 2 or 3 in the division. And now that prediction's not looking so strong anymore. So, Minnesota Vikings at home. One thing that bothers me about this is this talk about revenge on Kirby Joseph. Of course, TJ Hawkinson with the ACL after the tackle by Kirby Joseph. And that there's rumblings from the Minnesota fans that the team could be targeting Kirby as a revenge for that hit. But that hit, there was no penalty on that hit. It was a legal NFL hit. It's unfortunate what happened. Nobody wants to see that. So I hope that is just a bunch of fan bullshit. Let's hope.
It should be just a bunch of fan bullshit and stop it. It's like it's almost just like defamation of character at this point. He didn't even get fined for the hit. Like sometimes they can go back and they watch all the plays in the game and they decide sometimes they'll fine somebody for a play that didn't get flagged. No, they didn't fine it either. So keep reaching. And by the way, if you really feel that strongly about it, write a letter to the NFL that says that you hate the rules the way that they are and they're not really protecting the players, because that'll do more than crying about a player that's just trying to abide by the rules.
What up? Jerome is in the house. Jerome says 18 mil for 2 years for Levante David. Pass. He's a linebacker. I need a true edge with edge pass rushing skill set. Levante David made the Pro Bowl one time. After that, they did not renew him in Tampa for a reason, sent him to Philly, and they cut him.
This Myles Garrett
or
thing to me, I I would love to see that happen because Cleveland's really stupid, Mike. Cleveland's dumb. I mean, I could see Brad Holmes just walking in there and being all cool Brad Holmes, and then, coming out and landing a Myles Garrett. And, even because he's got 2 more years left on his deal. So he'd fit right into that 2026. You could still extend Hutchinson next year, and then you'd have Garrett and Hutchinson.
Man, we're still talking about. We're gonna be talking about this all year, I feel like. Put it in the comments. We just got a few minutes left. I do want to talk about the Monday Night Football game that's going on here, but I want you to put it in the comments for me. A score prediction against Minnesota. What do you think? Lions are getting 2, so I think it's going to be a close game. If Vegas thinks it's going to be a close game, I say the Lions win 23-20 on a Jake Bates long field goal to win it at the end.
You
23-20. You heard it here. Book it. Main Event Mike says it. Russ, you going to give me a prediction?
For
a score.
Game on Sunday?
This is a weekly show.
Well, I mean, we give our predictions on Thursday usually. But you want me to go score on
Lions?
Lions and the Vikings? Well, if the Lions are going to win the game, and I have to pick them to win because I'm a freaking homer, I think they're going to have to score a lot of points. So I'll say 35-28 Lions.
Love it. You heard it there, folks. Russell Wayne. Davey says 17-13 Lions. Michael says 28-20 Lions. Ken Fisher, 31-21 Lions. Michael, 28-20 Lions. Where are my Viking fans? Let me hear a Viking prediction that trumps that. Go ahead, Russ.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you had something. My bad. Tonight, right after this program, it'll be Monday Night Football. Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets, coming off the firing of Robert Saleh, because that's a great time to fire your coach when you're playing for first place in the division on Monday Night Football. That's a great time to fire the coach. Jets. Gee whiz.
Did we mess up?
Woody Johnson has never fired a coach in season. Oh, next day. There it is.
We both picked the Jets in the points, right?
We both took the Jets. Absolutely, we did. And it's because of that spark that firing the coach always seems to give the team, right? The interim coach is a guy that they love. The owner says, who will you guys play hard for? And they all point to Antonio Pierce. When it was Dan Campbell, they all pointed to Dan Campbell in Miami. That's the guy that we'll play for today, now that the coach is gone.
Well, what was the spread?
The spread on that game is Buffalo at New York Jets, and the Jets are favored by 2, or the Jets are getting 2.5. Buffalo's favored in the game. So we've got the Jets plus 2.5, and Aaron Rodgers probably calling the plays.
There you go. Aaron Rodgers.
Folks, look, I've made I don't want to say a career, but I made a living out of bashing Aaron Rodgers for a long time.
Do it. Here, you got
bashing Aaron Rodgers when he was with the Green Bay Packers. But honestly, when he went to the Jets and I looked at that roster on defense, it should be amazing. That is a good defense. They're number 2 overall total defense in the NFL right now, the New York Jets. They've got an incredible young receiver named Garrett Wilson, who's a stud. Breece Hall, arguably the best running back, definitely the best young running back in the league. Why isn't this team dominating? Maybe Aaron Rodgers has lost a step. Maybe Aaron Rodgers just has to be involved in so many things and create so much drama.
It's my quarterback.
Maybe he's such a polarizing figure that the drama is just attracted to him, and it causes all of this. Folks, there was a report this week, and Aaron Rodgers came out and said when he was questioned, is it true that the owner of the Jets, Woody Johnson, called you on Monday night, the night before Robert Saleh was fired? Is that true? And Aaron Rodgers said, oh, yeah, that's true. Woody's the owner of the team. I'm the quarterback of the team. Well, can you tell us what you guys talked about? Aaron Rodgers said, yeah, he knew I got rolled up on in the last game, and he was just checking on me, see how I was. Are you kidding me?
It's my quarterback.
Come on, Aaron Rodgers. So the night before they fired the coach, he called you and didn't happen to mention, oh yeah, by lunchtime tomorrow, you're going to need a new coach. He didn't tell you that, you liar. Just like you're immunized, right? You liar. Karen Rodgers, you liar. But I'm rooting for the Jets tonight, because if the Jets win, I will officially beat Russell Wayne in a weekly contest of picking games. I've never beat him in 3 years, folks. I've never beat him. And if Rodgers comes through for me tonight, I will accomplish that. Thanks, everyone, for being in the chat. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll be back again on Monday night next week, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully, we're talking about a Lions victory over the Minnesota Vikings. Follow us on all of our socials and at JC Sports on YouTube. For Russell Wayne, I'm Main Event Mike, saying God bless each and every one of you. Peace out.
Hey, yo, the lies told that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lies to sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes win. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose when I get to, never lose, move on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision and pay me, it's never the sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning is crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, this your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, this your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.